Hello. How are you guys? Welcome, welcome. How are you guys doing on this beautiful Friday? Y'all know I don't ever know what day it is. Unless I have a lot of clients that week, honestly, I don't be knowing what day it is. But how are you guys? I'm going to try to set this up on a flatter surface because I'm in my bed and this tripod be shaking. You guys, I'm excited to talk to you today about a session, amazing session that I had. Well, a few things. First of all, let me just start off by saying that it is such an amazing time to be alive right now. I mean, you've been alive many times, you have many other lives, and you've been here in the past and all that other stuff. But this time, like the late 20th century as of today, 21st century. And this whole 20th century as of today. Sorry, my sound. This whole 2025 thing is just amazing. I mean, I cannot stress to you guys enough how much on a higher soul collective level, right? Because you guys have seen me talk about how the avatar that you're in right now, what you're experiencing right now is an expansion of your soul. So like I had a client ask me just yesterday, someone that is dealing with grieving from losing their loved one. And they asked me, I sent them a little clip about how this thing really goes. Like we actually think that it's like a real loss and we think that, we no longer have the person. And they asked me about how they asked this question. They asked me, so like when a person transitions, do some of them wait around or do they go right back into some type of warp and then they come right back into life, or how does that work? And what I explained to them is that the only reason why one would even ask that kind of question is because you're thinking of things from how you're supposed to, your human linear self. So the human mind, we think of things so linearly, right? We have this thing where everything has to be like a process, one at a time. It has to be a starting point and an ending point. Things are done in layers or on top of each other or one by one. This is linear. But how things really are, I mean, even the Bible and the Quran talks about this. On the other side, time and space does not exist and there is no linearness. Things are simultaneous, things are parallel to each other. So when we're talking about what we really are, the avatar that you are in, what you are watching this video through, it's actually an expansion of your soul. So you are parallelly experiencing this reality in this time and space right now, but you're also having other experiences right now. So I said all that to say that what your higher self, even last time, last time that I was live, I talked about how we have like this hurt and, we're hurt because people have hurt us. And we have this thing, like a lot of you guys think that you hate the president and you feel like all these things, but on the other side, you're actually completely in love with each other. We are so in love with each other. We are so happy with each other. And we love each other so unconditionally. And we are here because we're working together. I know it sounds so corny, but that person that hurt you, that person that physically harmed you, whatever the harm was, is a soul that actually genuinely loves you like crazy and cannot even stop loving you. That's actually how your soul is on the other side. The other side, right? So on the other side right now, I'm just tapping into the collective and what we're really doing in our higher forms. And right now we are so proud of ourselves. We're so proud of each other. We are just in amazement at the human, like the levels and the things that we've overcome. Like this is, you're actually really proud of yourself and you're actually really excited about what is to come for us. And even though it doesn't feel like that, you might be in the worst situation that you might feel like you've ever been in this 3D form, but your higher self is really excited about what's happening. And there's definitely this thing of, shifting gears out of, because I can't talk too long about what your higher self is doing, because your linear mind will not be able to connect with that too long. So shifting that into what source feels or what your guides are feeling, because that's a better understanding for us. There's just a lot of excitement right now going around, because so many of you guys are getting these messages, and you are having weird dreams, and you are getting epiphanies about your life and yourself, and ideas that you didn't even think you could come up on, telling you to do certain things. And some of you guys you're highly intuitive already, but your intuition is growing, and your synchronicities, the way that things are forming together. After you think something, things are popping up. After you do something, another thing is coming up that is connected to that. And that's happening more and more now than it has ever happened. And it's just all because of where we're headed, this new earth that we're going to, where so many more of you will be able to tap in and to really know what you really are. So many more of you will be using your spiritual gifts. And some of you guys will just be seeking those spiritual professionals to help you with your own gifts and with your own calling. So it's just a really good time right now. Going along with that and what the subject is today, it's really good because I feel like, because of everything that I just explained, this is why I'm seeing so many of my clients, so many sessions that I'm doing where people are going into a past life. Okay, linearness. Again, I'm only saying the word past because it helps you understand, but it is not in the past. It is parallel. It is simultaneous. But where more and more of my clients are having this experience where they're going into the life when they were extraterrestrial beings, or they're going into their form of being an ET. And I mean, it's happening a lot. It's happening so much more now. And I just know that it is a part of where we're headed. It sucks to me that we don't even really try to understand this, or we definitely do not believe it most of the time unless the government says it. Like when the government came out a year ago saying that they did have contact with extraterrestrials, then people are like, oh, okay, well, I guess we got to believe it. But if you can open up your mind just a little bit without the same people that are poisoning us and doing a bunch of other miseducating us, without them helping with your awareness, if you can go outside of that, I mean, just think about things like what an octopus looks like. That doesn't even make sense. Kangaroos can box. That doesn't even make sense. Like, there's a lot of shit here that doesn't even make sense. There's a lot of things here that should have you questioning, like, why humans do not think that there's other forms of beings on this earth. Like, why do we think that we are the only people, not even just on this earth? Humans are so full of ourselves that we don't even just think that we're the only beings on this earth. We think that we're the only beings in the galaxy. Like, not to mention that there's multiple galaxies, but we actually believe, I mean, this is crazy to me. Like, this is so crazy. Like, y'all just don't know. If you believe that we are the only forms in the galaxy, you just don't know how crazy this is. Like, you gotta be kidding. Like, it's so crazy. Like, I'm sorry. It's just so mind-blowing that we are full of ourselves on that level. So I just believe that because of that being a thing, I think that's why more of my sessions, people are having their ET experiences. And so I did a session with someone. I'm trying to find my title thing that I have up here. I did a session with someone. Now, mind you, I do multiple sessions where people are extraterrestrials, right? But I have not been doing well enough with sharing this stuff. Sometimes I make a post about it, but I just don't. I need to be telling y'all the stories, okay? And ask me questions so I can give more, because sometimes I forget. So this individual, we went into a life. Now, this is also going to sound totally crazy. It's just because we're so egotistic. Not only are we not the only beings on this earth or in the galaxies, but black, white, brown, whatever skin color is not the only skin color. Like if you can open your mind, I don't even think that most people watching this know that there are multiple moons and that that's not a secret. Like you can go on the NASA website and you can read about hundreds of moons. Like there's so many moons in the galaxy. And I'm just talking about our galaxy that we can, as far as we can see. So if you didn't know that there are multiple moons, then you gotta open yourself for this conversation. You gotta stop and drop all of your, well, I feel like this and God says this and the book says that. You gotta drop that right now, because I'm telling you right now, there is more than one moon. There are multiple moons, and this is not a secret. This is this is so well known amongst astronomers and scientists that when I talk about this amongst people and I realize that the majority of us still don't know that there are multiple moons, it really helps for me to realize that I'm speaking to a bunch of people that, you guys, we don't really know shit. Because if you don't know there's multiple moons, you really don't know shit. I don't know shit. As much as I know, I still don't know shit. So if you just on a basic level, if you did not know that your government, that NASA, that all the scientists that are into the ethers and into nature are very fully aware, it is not a secret. It's not even something amazing for anybody to hear about there being multiple moons. But most of you guys are hearing this for the first time. I need you to know how much you don't know if you do not know this, okay? So I've had these sessions multiple times, and I just know that I'm having these sessions more because of what is going to be coming. You guys are going to be hearing the government, and you're going to be hearing other governments too, not just our US government, talking about their contact with extraterrestrials. They have to come out with this information because they are breaking laws. When you are a government and you have certain technologies and certain things that wouldn't be considered normal. I'm not going to get into the type of technologies that they have, certain quantum things. They're not even, a lot of the stuff is not secret anymore, or I should say some of it is not secret anymore. But you're breaking, I forgot what amendment it is, but it's an amendment that you're breaking if you have these technologies and these things and you're not letting the public know. It's literally a law. Now, of course, we're talking about the lawmakers, so of course they are the lawbreakers as well. But because of this reasoning and the people like Stephen Greer and all the lawyers and CIA former whistleblowers that work with Stephen, the government is having to come out with this information. You guys probably think that the government just wanted to be nice a year ago. I think they've come out twice now talking about their contact with extraterrestrials. And you probably just think, like a lot of us think, that the government is just trying to update us. And they just want to be, they just want to keep us in the loop. But that's not it at all. There actually are some folks out here that have been putting their foots on their necks for 40, 50 years. And that is why the government has come out talking about their contact with extraterrestrials. And they haven't told us anything yet, really. They haven't said nothing. So we're going to be seeing this in the future. It is really good if you take what I'm about to share with you with way more than a grain of salt, because when the government starts coming through with this information, and especially if they do what Stephen Greer and many other people have said that they're going to be doing, which is staging ET attacks, which is making it as if we're being attacked by extraterrestrials and it's not going to be real, especially if they do that, then you will want to listen to what I'm about to share with you. Okay, so again, going into this session. So I said all that because these beings are not always the same skin color as us. And that sounds crazy to you, but it's not crazy. If anything, you're the alien. Like we are the aliens to them, because it's way more of their kind of beings than us. Okay. We just have this little small earth that think that we're the only ones. Like we're just, So in this session, just like a lot of my sessions when clients go into their life as an extraterrestrial, she was a green being. So her skin color was green. And I can't remember if I don't think I asked about the other skin colors, but she did share with me that that the beings were different colors. If you're just tuning in, I'm talking about a session that I did with someone. If you don't know, I use people's, well, let me say, I take people into altered states of mind so that they can unlock all their memories from this life and into other dimensions and other lives. People are able to speak to their dead loved ones. People are able to get answers directly from them. They're able to ask questions. This is not like a made up thing. We're sitting here for 4 hours and people are literally giving me information that they have no idea about. So it's very real. If you don't know anything about altered states of mind, anything about hypnosis or anything, I know you probably think you know, but it's not about hypnotizing anyone. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And if you don't believe in it, you can just look up how many people have stopped different habits, how many people have been able to heal themselves literally, like from disease. There are people out there that are curing themselves of cancers and all types of diseases using these same techniques. It's not spiritual mumbo jumbo. It's just going into an altered brainwave. It's not even that deep. Like, it's super deep, but it's not that, it's not difficult. It's very easy. And you do it naturally. Okay. You do it twice a day anyway. Okay. So you also do it when you're driving or when you're walking. That state of mind that we say is like in pilot mode. That's all I'm doing, is taking people into pilot mode while they're still awake, basically. So anyways, when you do this, you are able to unlock all the memories that you ever had. And I'm talking about a session that I had with a client, like many sessions, where this client is an extraterrestrial. Okay, I'm using the word is, even though that's a little difficult because we see things linearly, and you probably want me to say was, because we see things as the past and the future. But I want to speak in accurate context. I want to speak in real, the right terms. Nothing is in the past, nothing is in the future. We're talking about parallel realities. It's just that our human selves has to see it as it's in the past. Okay. I might sound a little repetitive, but I want to be clear. So she goes into this experience where she's in another dimension, and she is a extraterrestrial being on a planet called Citron. And I'm gonna upload this video probably next week or something, but it's really amazing. She is this green being, and they are celebrating. She's on stage, and they're having this celebration of them basically infiltrating their government. And it was so cool. Now, mind you, this client, I know about extraterrestrial beings. If you do not know, I'm a channeler. So I've been speaking to extraterrestrials since I was like 4 years old, maybe earlier than that. I just don't remember. I know about this stuff, so I'm able to ask the right questions. My clients, however, do not know about these things. So when they're giving me information, I am knowing like which way to turn and ask them certain things about other beings and stuff. But I just love the fact that my clients have no idea. Sometimes they're Christians, sometimes that, they're just like, I don't know what this is. They're like, I'm just telling you what's coming through. And so what she expressed to me was kind of funny because this client was like speaking, as this individual on another planet. And she was like, yeah, I hate the US government. And I was like, you hate the US government? Why do you hate the US government? And she talked about how their government on that planet is also very corrupted, and how there's a group of beings along with my client who have infiltrated the government so that they can expose the government. And how I feel like the comparison that she described to me is like on this earth, some of us, I'm gonna say now it's like 3%. It used to be 1%, but like 3%. Maybe we could say 5. Maybe after the pandemic, we could say 5 now, maybe of us, percent of us that that know that our governments are corrupted, that are actually aware that there's a bunch of secret shit going on. The majority of us still think, we still believe in conspiracy theories. I don't know how y'all still believe in that, because we've been right about everything. So we could just do away with that word. But we're all on our journey, and where we're supposed to be, it's all perfect. So the way that she kind of described it though was as if like on their planet, their people really didn't know, like dead ass. Like it's very small, an even smaller group of woke people that are aware. And it's like, I feel like our government specifically, like compare our US government to other governments. other governments, like the European governments and stuff, they do a better job at their corruption. It's so much more secretive. You almost think that our government is the only, or maybe you know that African governments, you know, can be really corrupted, but we don't really look at like the governments of like that's over Australia and Europe and stuff like that. We almost don't really know how sick and corrupted they are. So the way she described this to me on their planet was almost like that. Like they were so able to keep the secret. So more people didn't know. And so it was really shocking for the people. To make a long story short, they infiltrated the government and they ended up exposing the truth. She actually ended up working for the government. So this is kind of like what Stephen Greer and them are doing, because it's a lot of whistleblowers that are coming out telling the truth and stuff. So kind of like that. And that's what this client was doing as this extraterrestrial being. And what she told me, I'm trying to think if I want to share everything, maybe not. But what she told me was that their government has done business with our U.S. government, and that they have provided them with their beings for us to dissect and to test. Now, what I love about this is that I already knew this, that this is not no secret, okay? If you know anything about this kind of stuff, if you've ever watched any of the whistleblowers, shout out to them, travel in peace, because a lot of them are no longer alive anymore. They were unalived for sharing what they've shared. Literal Congress members, some really old men that have worked in the military and higher ups that were close to death and ended up coming out and telling what they've seen, stuff like that. So they've definitely, this is not even a secret at all. But I just love that this client knew nothing about this. And she was able to share with me that she was like, yeah, I don't like, me and my folks, we don't like the US government. And she said, because they are just as corrupted as our government is, and they do business with each other. And she said that they have provided them with their beings for us to learn about, for us to test on and stuff. We kind of see this in movies, right? Do y'all not see this in a bunch of movies? Like, how many ET movies have you seen where we're trying to get our hands on the ET so that we can dissect it and test it? Like, come on, this is not even like, you are, if you don't know shit else, you could be as closed-minded as you want to, but I know you know that they put the truth in the movies. Like, come on. Like, if you don't have to believe that you know, we're not the only beings here. You can believe that there's not many moons and that we're, you know, whatever. But I know you know that they put truth in the movies. Like, the basic level, we all agree with that, right? So there's definitely plenty of movies. Even the movie E.T. is showing them dissecting and, you know, testing out the ET. So that was really cool. She shared a lot of stuff about DNA stuff, eugenics. I'm not gonna get into that because I feel like I should wait on that. I feel like I'll upload the session and I'll let y'all get what you're gonna get. But I just think that we're not ready for all that conversation. But if you're into that kind of thing, then let me know. Maybe I'll elaborate on it more. But if you're into knowing what we do with eugenics, like I was explaining to my client when we got done with the session, and I was telling her how as human beings, we cannot even fathom, like, not human beings, as ordinary people, as the beings that you just going to work and you just doing your thing and you're raising your kids and you just living life, you can't really understand why, or even how, or even if you wouldn't even really be able to grasp how important DNA is to our governments. You wouldn't be able to really understand like what DNA holds and why like population control and eugenics and stuff is such a thing. There is to the people and the beings that this really matters because of what they're doing with the DNA. There's probably nothing that is more important, honestly. There's your soul, and then there's eugenics, there's DNA, and everything else in between, it almost doesn't matter. Family, your body, all those other things, health. When it comes to the ones who are working with eugenics and the reasoning for it, the scientists and the beings that are into this kind of thing, it's such a thing because what your DNA is, it's data. it's data that is like, it's eternal. It doesn't end. I'm just going to say that and leave it there because I'm not trying to get too far off, but I'm trying to help you understand without really understanding that eugenics and DNA is like the most important thing for those who know, like those who have the power and the money. Like it's consciousness. Like your DNA is consciousness. So when you can control DNA, when you can entrap it, when you can manipulate it, then you have a powerhouse because you can create from that. Okay, I'm being real careful with my words here. So she talked a lot about that, about the exchange of DNA and certain things like that. I'm trying to think about what else I've had in other sessions too. Now, of course, she did mention, have I had someone give me detail about the spaceships? I don't think I have. So it was really cool because she did give me some details. Now, mind you, this is a client that does not know anything about this, okay? What she talked about is the spaceships being translucent, which is also really cool because there is also a lot of evidence, and even people, you can go on YouTube and you can find really old video. There's actually a really good video of some kids in Africa talking about seeing extraterrestrials. It's like in the 80s. I don't even know. Maybe I'll find it and post it on my thing or whatever, on my post on YouTube. But you can find some good stuff on that. And people have described them seeing a translucent light. I mean, there's millions of different descriptions and drawings of aircrafts, of UFOs or whatever aircrafts. But she described this as being translucent. And she talked about, I asked her, could humans ride the shuttle? And she said no. She said you have to have a particular DNA. Let me think if I want to get into too many details about that. Let me think. No. Okay, so we're not going to go too much on that. You guys are not giving me feedback, and I don't want to be freaking y'all out. So since no one's saying anything, I'm going to keep on going. So let me open up this door over here. Yes, ask me questions. If you're enjoying this, interact so that I will know if I am, if I need to keep going, if I need to go deeper, or if I need to shut the hell up. So anyways, that was really cool. I've had another client. Now this last one, she's going to allow me to share the session. This other one, she didn't want me to share it. This one was really cool. And this was a family member of mine. So I know for a fact that she did not know what she was talking about. And she grew up in a very Christian home, and you know, she's still a believer. She definitely would have not chosen to say any of the things that she was saying. But she was a being that was in existence in like what would be considered like year 8. Like imagine planet life, like this planet being only in existence in its 8th year. This is so hard for me to talk about because humans, we got so much ego. Like y'all probably don't even really believe that there's been other human species here and that they've been wiped out, but it's in history. It's not even like nothing to debate about. There's just the first they have even in some of my African books that I own, they have like the first gorilla with human teeth, the first fish that had legs. Like there's a bunch of like evidence of us evolving and stuff, but let me try not to get all into that. It's just kind of hard for me to like dance around this conversation without offending anybody, because we just swear we're the only ones here, and we just swear we only live once, and we just swear all these egotistic things. But so she is this being that was here before existence, and I mean before human existence, and her mission here was for them to plant things, to make plant life be in existence here, and also to protect themselves from these like not entities, but like these animals that are really large. I'll say that. A lot of you probably don't believe in giants, even though there's a bunch of evidence, even though it's in the Bible. But it was a lot of that going on in this reality that she went to, and they started dying off. The species started dying off, and it was really cool because, mind you, again, she doesn't know anything about this stuff. So when I asked her why they were dying, she said that there was something. She explained it very well. Of course, she couldn't do this once we got out of it, but she was able to, during the session, tell me something about like the ozone layer and like the oxygen doing something different, and that making for her species to start dying off. And it was the most beautiful death that I witnessed in these sessions, because her partner was there that just so happened to be her first love in this life. And while she was dying, her partner was explaining to her that there was no reason to worry, because he was like, you already know, like, we already know that there is no death. Like, we already know that that's not a thing. So you already know I'm about to see you in a minute. And I love that, because of course in our human linear brains and how we take death is, so different. We think that we actually lost somebody. We think that, we don't understand the expansion of their soul and what happens after that. And we think that it's actually like someone is gone, we think it's an actual death, like how we describe death. So I just loved, I loved knowing that this person didn't know nothing about that. Now, mind you, I know this person her whole life since she was a baby. So I know what she knows. I know what she believes. And I know that she did not believe that death is not really death. Like, it's not really how humans describe it. So the way that she was explaining to me that her partner was just like, don't tell me you're getting worried, because you already know what this is. And you already know that you're not really dying. So yeah, that was really beautiful. What else? I've had like 3 more. I'm trying to think if I can remember. Oh my God. How could I forget this one? I had another one, another client who went into their extraterrestrial reality. And this one was so trippy because, okay, hold on. Let me say this. I don't want you guys to assume, because when people hear me sharing a story about a session that I had, I don't know why y'all do this, but y'all assume that your session is going to look like that. I just don't know why. You're a different person. You're a different being. You have different blood. You have a different experience. You have, like, all of our lives are not the same. So why would your session be exactly like how I'm describing? And if that's the case, it's like, how can that be? Because then I'm describing different sessions and they're not all the same. They're all completely different. So please do not internalize what I am sharing. This does not mean that you're going to do this session and you're going to be an extraterrestrial. You have lived so many lives. It's not like you're just going to go into this particular one. And so just please don't do that. Okay. Be open, let go of any expectations. I'm just sharing this because it needs to be shared and it's really good information. So this client, it was crazy because, okay, so such good confirmation too. My kids and I, we are like ocean buffs. Like, I should say my kids specifically, they are so much into animals and so much into ocean animals, and they know every animal in the ocean. And we do a lot of studying on that. And so we've discussed how there are so many animals in the ocean that are just not normal. It's just like I was saying in the beginning of this live, how can you possibly think that you as a human and just the animals that we know about are the only beings here? When you look at the ocean animals, and when you look at the deep sea ocean animals, you are really trying to be closed-minded. If you are actually researching these animals and you're not connecting a pattern between some type of extraterrestrial like existence, you got to be kidding me. Like, there are ocean animals that have like flashlights like connected to their head so they can navigate through the ocean. Like, it's just so many amazing things that they do and that they are. It just wouldn't make sense for it to just be like just little normal little basic little human thing that they try to teach us that, that we're in. So anyway, octopuses, if you research how octopuses work, how their limbs grow back and all this other stuff, they're just not normal. They're very clearly extraterrestrials. And so this is something that my kids and I have already, inferred many years ago. This is a belief of ours that we just keep to ourselves. And so I thought it was so cool that we did this session, and this client started her life out as an extraterrestrial that was in an octopus form. So she knew that she was extraterrestrial, but she was showing up as an octopus, like a disguise. And this session blew my mind because during my sessions, I'm sorry, y'all. I got to talk in between stuff because we got so much fear. Hopefully you are not afraid of death if you're watching this, because when I explain that in the sessions, we go through your death. We don't go through multiple deaths. We go through at least one of them to get us to the other side of you speaking to your soul team. That's the only way, because you have to go into your soul form. I was about to say, what the hell? it just went out. Okay, we're still on. Hopefully I can still hear me. So when you have this experience in real life, and when you have this experience in the session, you feel complete love and bliss. You feel like you just feel, people describe it as just this peacefulness that comes over them. They're just like, I just feel so loved. I just want to stay in this space. That is really how death is. Now, before the death, while you're on this side, depending on how you're dying, it might not feel too good. Maybe, depends on how you're dying. But as soon as you get over there, and you can watch people's indie experiences where they're sharing the time that they died for a few minutes or however long, and they came back to life. They have the same exact description. And so, yeah, you just feel this peacefulness. You feel this unconditional love for yourself and from your guides. And so it was really crazy because normally in a session, we do that and it only takes one time. And then we go into meeting your council, right? And so that's what I was expecting. My whole thing is to guide you through all these unlocked memories from this life into your mother's womb, into the whatever past lives that we need to heal things from. And my goal is to get you to your death, because I know that once you go to your death in the session, then your team is taking over and you're going to see your deceased loved ones. You know, it's a whole thing. I really don't have to even do anything because they run the show, right? Source, God is literally leading the whole thing. This is your consciousness. This is your brain. So if you don't think that God is incognito with your brain and doing that, then you just wouldn't believe this then. Okay, if you are thinking this is evil, why would God allow this? It's your brain, it's your mind. This is what you do. You go into these altered states every single day. So why would this be allowed, and why would it be so effortless if this wasn't a permission slip, if this wasn't something that we're supposed to do? Okay, just ask yourself that. So anyways, normally people go through their death in the session and it's just like really, then we go on, right? They go and they get to ask any question they want to ask, and we go through the whole thing. This girl would not die. This client would not actually die. I kid you not. This is the longest session I ever did. I thought it was going to last forever. She kept going into other forms. It was so crazy. She just kept going into other forms. I was like, okay, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm sitting here talking to my guys, like, what do y'all want to do? Because we're just keep going on and on. She's supposed to die already. Like, I've never asked anyone, can you just die so we can get on to the, and also this client had lost her mother. So when I get clients who have lost a loved one, especially if they're still currently grieving them, no matter how long it's been, I really am like so big on getting you to this part in the session, because I want you to get your closure. Some people come to me because they had a loved one that, you know, people say, oh, they passed away this way, but they know something else actually happened and they just want to know the answer. Like, they want to know what actually happened. Some people just have answers about other stuff. Like, it's just a bunch of stuff when it comes to their loved ones. And so she had a lot of questions I think that's what I said. Some people have questions. That's what I meant to say. But she had a lot of questions for her mom, and I really wanted her to get to those questions. And baby, I thought after a while, we're just not supposed to get there because she just kept on going into beings. I'm gonna save because y'all still not saying nothing. So I'm not gonna tell you the next being that she went into. I'm gonna share the session and I'm going to tell you where she went into because without feedback, I don't even know where y'all at. And I don't wanna, there's just some rabbit holes I don't want to go down right now. So, but she kept going into these different beings. And it was tripping me out. I wasn't sure if I was in belief of all the beings that she was going to. So it was really questionable for me because I was like, I don't think I believed in that kind of being. Let me think right quick if I even had believed in that. While you talking about that's you now, your extraterrestrial self that went into this being. She did eventually end up going, and going and passing and going, being able to meet with her guides and her mother and stuff and getting what she wanted. But I thought that was so cool though, the way that she was able to, show up in an octopus form. Because I've talked about that. I've talked about how much octopuses are not what we think they are. And if you're just tuning in, then hopefully your mind is open. Let's all put our thinking caps on and open it up. Because it sucks. It sucks that people like myself, we can't just talk about these things and you be open to it. But then the government can come and make a public statement that they've been contacting extraterrestrials, and now we all get it. Now we all have to consider that we're not the only ones here. If you don't know, you need to know this. If you don't know that the government has already come out and said that, but it's just whack, y'all, because it's us in this. Like, we in this. Like, we really is the ones. Like, so you people want to call us conspiracy theorists and all this stuff, but then you want to believe the government. Like, you got to not believe them too then. If you're going to deny us, then you got to not believe them too. And you can deny me all you want. Like, I have no care. Like, I've been speaking to these beings since I was a kid. These beings been speaking to me. I did not want to talk to them, okay? I did not want to have these communications. So I'm okay with being denied of that because this is my life. This has been my whole life. So I'm just totally fine with that. But at the same time, I'm like, dang, like, for real, y'all. Like, now everybody is like, these extraterrestrials are in the mall. And, and I said earlier, I talked about how what I'm sharing is really important because the government is going to be coming out in the future more and more, maybe even before this year is up, they're going to make some more statements. They're going to continue to make statements. And I mentioned how if they end up doing what Stephen Greer has been trying to warn us about, that they will start to do, if they end up staging these extraterrestrial contacts, which I really believe that they did with the mall thing. I do not believe that there were really extraterrestrials in the mall. Y'all remember that whole mall thing last year? Was that in Texas? It was supposed to be like extraterrestrials walking around. They're not going to show up like that. I'm going to tell you right now that if they wanted to harm us, we would have been harmed. They are not trying to harm us. It's not about that. It's actually the complete opposite. Y'all still not saying nothing, so I'm not going to say that either. If you're interested in this conversation and you're saying nothing, then you're missing bits and pieces because if you're not saying anything, I don't want to continue to go deeper because I'm trying to respect other people's beliefs. So if you are feeling this conversation and you want to know more, you might want to comment something. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going past certain subjects because I want to respect everybody's belief. And I'm not trying to force this on you or anything. So, but yeah, the mall thing is crazy. Like, please, y'all, be on the lookout because unfortunately, if they really start doing this, if they really start, which I think they already did with the mall thing, then a lot of us are going to be afraid. A lot of y'all are going to be freaking out. You're going to really believe that there's extraterrestrials coming to attack us. And I'm just trying to tell you right now that that's not ever happening. That is not the case. That's not going to happen. And it just wouldn't happen. That's just not what is happening ever. So it's actually the complete opposite of that. So I just like, just be on the lookout for that. Look, be on the lookout for, you know, them saying, you know, where, and even right now, they're kind of like, I feel like they're kind of gearing us for that. If you've seen like Elon Musk's, if you guys don't know, he has a satellite. The satellite is questionable. The satellite is questionable. My kids and I have seen this satellite in person. We have seen this satellite on our rooftop last year. This thing do not look like no damn satellite. I'm not gonna lie. It's called Link something. You can look it up. You can look up Elon Musk's satellite. He has a real legit satellite dish that is like roaming around the earth, dishes. But it's just so strange because the way it looks is really weird. And then it's like, why is it so close? Like, I swear to God, this satellite was so close to my kids and I that it looked like if we could like balance on each other's shoulders and just kind of like, it looked like you could, like with a good ladder, you could just reach up and grab it. It was so weird. It was so weird. I'm just having a real big problems finding, like, believing that that's a satellite, because then it's like, why would you make it look like that? Like, you know, people are going to see that, which it's been hundreds of people now. You can go on like Reddit, you can go on Google. That's how we found out what it was supposed to be. So yeah, apparently this man done launched like 1,000 of these satellites in whatever year. If you haven't seen it, then you just haven't seen it yet. But I just kind of feel like the sightings of that, a lot of other little things. I mean, some of these things are really them making themselves known, but they're not going to come through like that. Like, they're not going to be walking through the mall. If that story is not a rumor, which I don't think it is, it's really something that people were saying that they were seeing and stuff. It was a staged situation, y'all. It was not real. It was a made up thing. And I know it wasn't just like some TikToker. Like, it was way too big because the news was talking about it. So I don't know, but just remember that you heard it here first, to be very aware. Just be very aware, please, because the panic that people are going to come over if they end up telling us that we're being attacked, or, you know, more sightings and stuff, it's just going to be so unnecessary. And it's just so easy to get wrapped up in that. Thank you. I am glad that you are interested. Honestly, guys, I wasn't even coming on here to talk about this. Right before I pushed the button, my guides were like, we're going to talk about this. I was going to talk about something completely earthly, okay? I was going to talk about something completely different than this. It was going to have nothing to do with this. But as soon as I was making the title, my guides were like, we ain't talking about that. What you doing? No. So yeah, I just think it's so cool though. People are really coming through as the higher beings that we are. And I just think that it's just so in alignment with the stuff that's coming out, and that's what is about to be coming out. And it's all divine. It's not something like, oh my God, humans, we're so beautiful, we're so amazing. We be like, the aliens are coming. When are the extraterrestrials going to come? They have been here before us. Why do you think that you were the first being here? Do you not understand where humans have come from in history? There was a time in history that humans didn't even understand the concept of family time. Like, literally around the years that we started celebrating Christmas, which was back in Europe. And I don't even know what year that was, but I just ended up last year, me and the kids did a lot of research on that time frame and where it came from and stuff. And during that time frame, literally, was the principle adopted of quality time with like family and children. Like, I don't think that most of us understand, like, you have to be like a history buff. You'd have to care about history beyond Black American slavery. You'd have to care about like the timeline of the evolution of human beings, not to get too much into like the image that they give us of like the Neanderthals and the caveman using the rocks. And they're like, I don't really like that image, but it's pretty accurate. It's actually pretty accurate. Do you understand that when we first came here, we did not have language? Do you understand that? Like, it's just so many different levels for us to have the ego that we have as humans,
to be like, we're the only ones and we're the first ones and nobody can, like, we had to evolve. Like the way that us being here today with the internet and with AI and all this stuff, it's all evolving. We came from a really, really bad, dark place. Like, I mean, the things that humans used to do and the beliefs that we had, even when it comes to natural healing, we always think that human beings on this earth have always had this high level, like I'm talking about back in the day, like before modern medicine, right? We all believe that humans knew how to heal and they just had the greatest remedies and stuff. But it wasn't even too much over 100 years ago, definitely beyond that, that we had some of the craziest remedy, like some things that you can look up today and be like, really? Really? So y'all thought if you walk around with some onions in your nose with a flower pot on your head, that was gonna, like, I'm talking about the craziest things that people were doing to heal themselves, and it was not successful. Motherfuckers was dying. Okay. I mean, there's just so many things. There's so many things in history, just our mannerisms, just the way that we operate, like customer service, like on every level we have evolved. So it's just amazing to me that we just have so much ego that we just honestly, like, you can't possibly think that. It's crazy. I even had a session one time. This will give you some good context. I had a session one time. I think I posted this. This is a video on my channel, actually. If you go to the playlist of MDR sessions, I think it might be regression. I don't know what my playlist is titled there. But I did a session with a client who went into a life where she was a cave woman. Now, I don't like to share this because, like I said, you guys be like internalizing these sessions. Not every session is like this. There are sessions that are really beautiful and people are crying happy tears and it's all amazing memories and stuff, okay? There's sessions where people go into certain traumatic experiences. I do not leave you with trauma. There's not a person that leaves this experience and says, the trauma is right here. Everyone leaves this session feeling lighter, with a burden lifted off of them, with confirmation, with them understanding themselves more, with them getting their closure. There is not a person that that way, okay? Let me say that before I share this with you. Again, this does not mean that your session is going to look like this. Everyone is different, okay? I don't even like sharing this, but it's on my YouTube channel and it's real. It's going to give you good context to what I'm saying about human evolution. So I had a client who wanted to, okay, this is really cool. I'm gonna take y'all back to the really beginning, for real though. She was a birth client of mine, right? She was a birth client, and I used the same technique, the same or very similar techniques to teach women how to give birth without pain that I use to take people into other lives, okay? The brain wave has to be altered to have a pleasurable birth. So in my practice where I'm teaching women how to do this, I am getting rid of trauma, and I'm taking them into altered brainwaves. And because in order to give birth without pain, you need to get rid of your trauma. You need to get rid of your birth trauma. You need to get rid of all types of stuff, right? So we're doing this, and she expresses to me that she has this thing about her father, and she doesn't know what it is. She's just like, I just feel this way about my father, and I just feel like I want to, like, I'm angry with him, and I have resentment towards him, and I have this thing with him, but I don't even know why. She's like, I don't even have a reason to feel that way about him. So it was so cool because I didn't want to do the session on her at the time. I had my own reservations and resistance to doing these sessions. A lot of me did not even believe that it was a real thing. So I just told her that I told her what my guides told me, which is that I'm gonna be able to help her with getting the closure of that. I just didn't know how I was going to do that. So I just told her that we would heal through everything else and we would get through the birth, and that at the perfect time, the thing is going to come up for me to be able to assist her with that. This is literally what I told her. And I had no idea what the hell I was talking about. I was just repeating what I got. So fast forward after that, after her birth, it was like a whole year later. And I'm doing these sessions, and and she ends up booking a session. And so we go into this life, and her first life is her being like a cave woman. I hate to use that term because I just really don't like the images that they place with that, but she was a cave woman. And the first thing I asked her, anytime that I have a client who is like with a partner and they're like intimate, I kind of always go down the same question route, which is like, how long have you all been married? Do you feel fulfilled in this marriage? Are you happy with this marriage? So the first question I asked her is, are you happy with the marriage that you're in? And what she says to me is, she's like, I don't feel like that matters. She's like, we're not in a time where there's a concept of like, are you fulfilled? Does this person make you happy? And that answer just blew me because of what I know about the timeline and the evolution of human beings. That's the truth. We really did. Just like I said, like there was a time that we did not even know the concept of spending family time. This might sound crazy to you. You might say, how is that possible? You have children, you're with your family. But no, like how many times in the Bible or the Quran do you hear people like just going on outings with their family or doing activities, just having a good time for their family? Like there was really a time in history that human beings did not grasp this concept, because exactly what she said in the session, so much was about survival. So much was about just getting your next meal and just figuring out the next thing, right? So for them specifically in this timeline that we went to, it was definitely about survival. And she said that, yeah, she's like, there's no concept of that. She's like, I don't even think that we're speaking. She's like, she's like, I'm not even able to use words. So we go through this life, and oh my God, it was so crazy because she's walking down the street. Her partner hits her in the back of the head. She's like, he just hit me in the back of my head. No, okay, wait, let me back up. Her partner is her father, by the way. Her partner in that life that she goes to is her father, okay? She's like, he hit me with like this big club in the back of my head or something big and sharp. And she's like, I don't know why, but my head is bleeding out. And so we go into the next image, right? Absolutely. And so we go into the next memory, and okay, y'all, brace yourselves, please. And please remember that I don't have sessions like this. This is not going to be your session, okay? Her father is eating her. Her father is eating her. And she's so confused. I'm asking her, like, what are your feelings? And she's just like, I'm just confused. She's like, I'm in shock. I'm in pain. And I'm just confused. And she said that when she's looking at her father doing this now, because now we're on the other side and she's watching herself in a soul form now. So she's no longer, obviously she's dead because she was being eaten. So she's no longer in that body during the session. She's no longer inside of that body, right? And so she's hovered over the body and she's watching the scene, and she's describing to me what she's getting from it. And she's like, wow, he doesn't even like, not even just care, but it's like, he doesn't even know like that this is like a violation. She's like, it's so much about survival that it's just like, well, you know, like I was going to eat you or you were going to eat me. Like it was going to, you know, like we haven't been able to find food like that. This is the history of cannibalism, though. This is not a secret. This is not no made up situation. You can go down the rabbit hole of cannibalism and you will see that that's where it started. So now I only wanted to share that detail because I wanted to give context to how we started as humans and the evolution of us. And I also wanted to share the confirmation and the connections that you get in these sessions, because again, this is a client who wanted to know why she felt this resentment and this anger towards her father. This is real, y'all. This is like real shit. She is pregnant and she is trying to figure out, like, just because she knows, because I'm training her, that we want to get rid of any kind of holding on to anything, because you really can't give a birth. You really can't birth a baby and be open, like for your vaginal canal to be open and for you to breathe the baby out. Because I don't do pushing with my birth. There's no pushing. So for you to, pushing is how you tear, okay? But we're not gonna get into birth. But pushing is actually how women end up tearing when they're giving birth. So we don't do pushing. It is completely forbidden. And your body has a natural vaginal ejection. It's going to naturally eject the baby, but you have to be able to open up and breathe for this. And so she's just trying to help me help her to get rid of whatever it is that she might be holding on to. That's the only reason why she mentioned this to me about feeling this way about her father. So it was really amazing that like, I had no idea. I could have guessed anything was the reason besides that. But I am so grateful, and I'm so like standing in just the biggest outpouring of gratitude just for myself, like me trusting myself, me being obedient to myself, because I don't be knowing what the hell I'm doing when I'm doing this stuff. I'm just listening to source. I never went to school for this. I did not ever want to do this shit. So talk about like trusting yourself. I am the poster child of trusting yourself. Okay. If you never knew what it looked like, it looked like this. Okay. If you ever needed a boost of trusting yourself, call on me, okay? Lord, I have been forced to trust myself on levels that I did not want to, okay? If y'all know my journey coming to Senegal, I can write a book on trusting self, okay? So I'm just want to take the moment to just have so much gratitude for myself, because I was able to help this sister with something so big and so important. And come to find out, it's something complete. Like, imagine her going to counseling for this. This is why I told you guys the other day to mark my words that in the next 20, 50, definitely 20, and especially 50, and most definitely full-blown, full throttle in 100 years, what we know as therapy and counseling today, it's not going to be what it is. It's going to be what I'm doing right now, because we're already realizing that words don't teach. They only inspire. Like, we're already realizing that you can only talk and vent yourself to death. We're already realizing that shadow work can only get you so far. And so people are starting to understand this concept of you needing to relax your nervous system, you needing to rewire your brain in order to heal. And that is going to start being more introduced. People are going to have the occupation of a spiritual psychologist. I am so firm and so certain about this. I am here to say it. Okay. De La Soul said it, that we are going to have, it's not going to be the normal counseling anymore. We're not going to be doing that in like 20 years, maybe less than that. I think it's going to be less than that. But so yeah, just imagine her trying to get help about this thing she doesn't know about her father. And it's just a basic, psychologist. Shout out to psychologists and counselors. Okay. This is where I started my work at. So I'm not going to, I'm not like belittling that field at all. I went to school for psychology, and I only dropped out because I was like, it's taking a long time to help people. Like, it's a quicker way. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's going to be changing. And I love that. I love me trusting myself to be able to see that, in real form, because that was crazy. She got all of the healing and the closure that she needed to go forward and to not feel that anger and that hurt from what her father had did in that life. Please let me know if y'all have any questions. Here I am at an hour. I said I was going to go live for 30 minutes. It is impossible for me to have a 30-minute live. Like, how do people do that? I just be having too many good things to say, I feel like, every time. Oh my God. That's so crazy. Why can I not have a 30-minute live? Like, I've been trying to do this for years. I'm barely successful. So real quick, let me know if y'all have any questions or anything. And if you don't, then we're going to get off of here so we can at least be an hour. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you liked this live, then please hit the thumbs up. Let YouTube know that when I get on this live, I be talking about what needs to be talked about. Okay. Share it. You can share it. It doesn't matter who sees it. It's just about putting the information out. You never know. You might have one person. I have a person that won the that won the session, the, what is that called? The raffle that I did for the MDR sessions. And he just sent me a voice message and told me that he's just so excited. But he told me that he found what I do because somebody shared a post or a video of mine, and then he went down the rabbit hole of my page. And I just love hearing that because it just shows like synchronicity. Like he ended up winning. He had been really trying to manifest something like this. He had no idea how he could do it. And then somebody shared something that was completely not on topic of this thing. And that's how, like, you know, like, I love that. I love those kind of things. That's how life is always working, guys. It's so cool. Like, synchronicity is never turned off. If y'all ever watched the movie Benjamin Button, if you've seen it when it first came out back in like 2008, 2009, watch it again. Watch it again. Because there is a part in that movie that is so, it is such a message that Source wants us to grasp. And it has to do with synchronicity and how that's the existence that we're in right now. Like the reality that we're in is a synchronizable reality, which is why you never should be worried. You never have to worry about anything. It's how circumstances don't matter because synchronicity is always taking place. So in the movie Benjamin Button, if you remember, there's they tell this little bit of a story about how the lady, Benjamin's woman, how she ended up getting hurt. She ended up getting hit by a car and she ended up hurting her foot or something and not being able to dance anymore. And if you remember how they told that story, they started off with the wreck, with her being hit, but then they went back and they told how the driver who hit her, I'm not saying this accurately, but I'm kind of just trying to review the storyline, but I'm sure it's not exact. But it was like the driver that hit her was he was a taxi driver who was running late because no, he wasn't running late. He wasn't running late, but he kind of was because the lady that he picked up was running late because the person that she went to pick up flowers before she hopped in a taxi had just broke up with their boyfriend and they were dealing with a heartbreak. So they were taking too long. And before that person got on the phone and was dealing with a heartbreak, the other person, like, it's like a whole, like it just shows how we're all interconnected. Like you don't know who is in the line of sight of your day, of every second of every moment, and how everything that we do is impactful for the next event and the next individual that you come into the line of sight with. Does that make sense? I feel like I did really bad explaining that, but I explain it all the time. That was like my worst way of explaining it. But it's like these series of events that take place, and it's like, this wouldn't have happened if this didn't happen, but because that happened, this was supposed to happen, and because of that, this ended up happening. Like because that person got in that taxi late, that person ended up right here at that time, and because the girlfriend was, you know, like all these little events, and because the lady was coming out of the dance class at that exact time that taxi just so happened to be there, she gets hit, and then there's a whole event from that. And I love that part of the movie. If you don't do nothing else, just go on YouTube and watch that part. Please, please, I'm asking you to look it up on YouTube or watch the whole movie and just process that part, because that part is what is happening all the time, every second. It is never not happening. The synchronicity of your life is never not taking place. And the more that we can grasp this, which is what the timeline that we're going into, we are headed towards the understanding of these kind of things, of how this matrix works. But the more that you can grasp this, the more that you can just allow, you know, the more that you can just sit back and allow for your life to play out, the more that you can start understanding that things are not really us going and chasing them and trying so hard to get there, but it's really just aligning with that thing. That thing wants you like you want it. That lifestyle, that partner, whatever the thing is, it wants you like you want it. It really does. Like everything is just you pushed out. So the more that we can grasp the concept that it's all about synchronicity and how everything is happening in this perfect, you know, bouquet of alignment of synchronicity, we're just gonna all live easier lives. That's what that means. A life of ease. Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Dove Fly. I like that name. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. If you are interested in getting a session with me or a reading or coaching at all, then you can go to my website right here. It's already up. Wait, no, that is my email. Okay, Dayla@Earth is School is my email. I did not mean to have my email up the whole time, but you can email me. Earthisschool.com. Earthisschool.com. For those of you who don't know where I got my brand name from, it was channeled to me when I was about 5 years old. So I did not come up with Earth is School. I did not know that Earth was school. I was told this all the time, like every day. Every day, goddammit. I'm going to say it was every day. You know, when you're a kid, time is a little bit different. Time is very different when you're a child because you're in your alpha theta state. You're in the altered state of mind that I take people to. So time is very different before you turn 8. So I don't know if it was every day, but damn it, it felt like it. It felt like it was every day, every other day. I'm being told, Earth is school. Earth is school. You came here to learn. You all came here. You all came here as students and teachers. All right. I appreciate you guys. Until possibly tomorrow, please put your notifications on, okay? Go right now. Please, please, please turn your notifications on because I don't have an exact time, but I'm going to try to go live around this time. And that way you don't miss me. Peace out. Thank you. Thank you. Peace, peace, peace.